And good Monday morning. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. Our weekend officially over as we head back to work again. How are you? I hope good. We're extremely close to Thanksgiving. Now, this is one of those mornings that you might want to go warm your car up. We're sitting at 29 in Meridian. And let me just show you a few of these areas around where we are, of what temperatures are as you're waking up. It's nippy as we pull this up and go to Meridian Honda radar. Showing here at Meridian, 29 as we go up toward the scuba area. Let's see what we got. We've got 29 in DeKalb. Feels like 22 degrees. A little chilly, isn't it? As you go northward, let's check out Macon, Mississippi. Sitting at 30 degrees. Feels like 25 with that temperature there. Up around Louisville this morning, we've got 29 all the way around. Over in Philadelphia, let's see. It says 29 there as well. As we go over to York, Alabama, just a few of these temperatures to get your day started. Also 29 in York. So as you can see, it's cold throughout the area. I want you to bundle up and be ready for this. Don't forget your jacket. Now, we'll give you all the details on the forecast of what's coming, but it'll warm up tonight, and we're going to have a little bit of rain going in after 1 o'clock tonight going into tomorrow. So expect a little dampness tomorrow. But midweek, we're back cold again. Good morning to Becky Vickers. Good to see you up and at 'em today. Jerome Lee says, "Brr." I agree with you, Jerome. It is. If you work outside, it's one of those where you want to stay in the vehicle for a couple hours anyway. Good morning, Sandy White. Good to see you're up. Let's head out to Collinsville this morning and get a good word. Every now we need those. This morning, Brother Ben's going to talk to us about shifting sand. I think we all know about all of that, don't we?
Jesus said at the end of Matthew 7 that we have two choices to build our life upon. One is the shifting sand of what this world calls truth. The world's truth is like shifting sand because it's constantly changing from generation to generation and even from person to person within a generation. Many people say today, that may be your truth, but that's not my truth. So which one's true? That's shifting sand, and that's one option for you. The other option is the unchanging, rock-solid truth of God found in the Bible. His truth isn't determined by popular opinion or cultural elites. It's not socially constructed or politically polled. It's determined by His holy and righteous will. And His truth is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And ultimately is what we'll be judged by when we stand before Him. So which will you build your life on? The wise man builds his life upon the rock of God's Word. Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. As I see Janet Riddle watching from Colorado this morning with snow. Whew. We haven't gotten any taste of that. I don't think the deep south is supposed to have much. But as we all know, Mother Nature has different plans than what forecasters sometimes say. We're supposed to be one of the busiest hurricane seasons ever. We did have 2 in the Gulf this year, but altogether it was not as bad as it could have been. I know Florida got beat up, but was not as many as it could have been. As I look across America, before we get into the news, sometimes stories catches your eye. We'll go to Florida this morning on I guess you would call this a national story, as we just heard from Brother Ben of shifting sand and making sure that you're on solid rock. It just shocks me, the state of America, the way it is in, of what upsets people and what they complain about. We go to a high school to where a teacher complains against another teacher. Well, apparently, wherever you park in Florida, and I know they do this in our area in Mississippi with high school seniors, where the seniors can decorate their parking place as to whatever they want to put in it. Well, a teacher decided that she wanted to put, it's a Bible verse. It says, "I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me." She had a coworker complain that offended her. Can you believe that? This is the shape that we're in, to where people complain against Christ and His sayings. In the end, the school board ruled against it and said that the teacher was not trying to hurt anybody or do anything. It was her space. They will stop at nothing to destroy the good word of the Lord. I want y'all to know that. That's just one of the stories that are out there. There are many more that I don't do each day, but that one caught my eye for some reason today. Thought you might want to know that. Always good to know what's going on. As we start to look at things that have happened over the last 24 hours, if you own a business, South Front Road, pay close attention when you get in. We have had some burglaries that we will talk about this morning that has happened over the weekend. It all started late Thursday night into Friday morning and, well, continued over the weekend. But if you own a business in this area, let's just pull this up where you can see this along these areas. Just pay attention when you come in. Don't wait too late. Make sure to call the police if you see something anywhere along in here. I know there was just some activity in those areas. I don't have any reports of anything, but sometimes it's just a heads up. As we look at this, I did hear of a car that was stolen in the early morning hours off of North Frontage Road from a motel. May be connected on each side, but if we go to the other side there, up by Massey, in that area there, a car was stolen. A little Honda Pilot. Decided they wanted it worse than the owner did while they slept. It's bad. It happens a lot. Now, our next story, as we go to downtown Meridian, I don't know if you've had a chance to read this. This would be in the wee hours of the morning as we go here an overnight break-in in downtown Meridian, early Sunday morning, about 3 a.m. And, of course, this is Dr. Carney's business. She works very hard. Revive Wellness. The thieves broke in around 3 a.m. in the darkness of night, shoved their way in, took a few things. That was the ending of what we would know of the weekend. You can read all about this. It's there on the sammedia.network. That's one place. In the last week, we have had 9 businesses broken into throughout the Meridian area. And that's only what I know about. I don't get them all. There's sometimes businesses are broken into. It's real quiet. Not much gets out about it. As we go to this, we saw this on early Friday morning. Let's just go back of this, a recap of what we've got. We had the crime wave from Mobile Fix, where they broke in there. We would go to Burger King right down the road from there. We would go to Chino's, and we'd go to Tractor Supply. Tractor Supply got it twice within a week. Now, again, like I said, there are more places that I'm not aware of. There are some people that didn't even call police when things happen. They go, well, what can they do? Always report it. It all goes back, maybe a fingerprint here and there. Maybe they don't get one, but it's best reported and could be tied in with another crime that is done. So make sure to report those if you have a business and something comes up missing. As the winter months roll in, we're going to see more of this. Each and every time it gets cold, they turn to these type of crimes. Expect that. We're going to see more, especially between now and Christmas. I know I sound like I'm beating a drum, but it is, and we want you to protect yourselves. Make sure you got cameras. If your alarm goes off, don't wait. Check it out. Don't just go, well, it does that all the time. A dog walked by or something bumped the building. It can be a lot more to it this time of year, so please check it out. LaWanda said the owners need to start sleeping in the stores. I do know of one that is. He's tired of it. He sent me a message that he is doing just that. Y'all watch him. We did have one person shot in Lauderdale over the weekend. Now, as we go back to sammedia.network, investigators are leaning that this possibly could be a self-inflicted wound. This would be at Lauderdale, just down from the Ralph Morgan Rodeo. As we learn more about this is still under investigation, but it does look as if the initial call to 911 said that it was a self-inflicted wound. Investigators are making sure, but it is leaning that way. We'll find out more about it as this starts to develop over that. We did again have one person in Meridian shot over the weekend. It would be on 29th Avenue is where they would be found, underneath the bridge. From what I'm being told, most likely shot long before that. And then someone would come along and see the person lying on the side of the road hours later. Metro was called and they were rushed to a hospital. Not life-threatening at all. Gunshot wound to the leg in the city limits of Meridian. That's as much as we know at this point. Now, we do know that over the weekend, Velma Park, do y'all know where this is? If you were going toward the North Hills area, it would be right up past Anderson's Hospital in that area there off of 24 if you would take a right. As we pull this up, a fight broke out there. Now, we reported this, and it was a bunch of juveniles. I've seen videos that have been sent to me of juveniles fighting each other there. As police would arrive on the scene, as you look at this, This is the police after they got there. A shot would be fired into the air. It's sad that juveniles would do such. At this point, I do know that 6, there was more, but I do know that for sure 6 were detained. We'll try to get an update from the Meridian Police Department today as to what happened after that. I'm hearing from the community, a lot of people knew that there was an argument that was most likely going to break out there. It's bad. We hate that. Juveniles with guns shooting them in the air when they see police. We can't have that. We'll watch this and hopefully get some more updates on this. We did have a overnight as we moved into Saturday morning out of Friday night. And we report what happens as we'll go just up 22nd Avenue after you leave where the old mall was, right down from the police station as you're going up the hill. So you're going toward the Quitman area, up toward the Evangel Temple. We would get reports that a shot was fired there. An argument was in the parking lot in this area here on Roebuck Drive. It was an SUV, man or woman. A shot was fired into the air. Police would arrive. They would not be found. They fled the scene. But again, it was still a gunshot in the town. You need to know about that, these areas. And again, it was wee in the early morning hours. What makes people do that, we don't know. That did happen to our area. That was going into Saturday morning in the early morning hours. We also have to go to the county for, well, it was nothing more than, you have to describe it as a fight with juveniles. 2 underage kids would fight. One would end up going to the hospital, but due to a stab wound as we look at this. Now, as we learn more about this is being turned over to the Lauderdale County Youth Court, as I spoke to Chief Deputy Ward Calhoun about the situation. It was the 11,000 block of Gilbert Joyner Road is where all that went on over the weekend. It was late Friday night when it happened. Never good for anyone to be stabbed, especially when it's children. Not much more that I can say about that. We do hope that gets handled. We did have an accident over the weekend on Martin Moore Road. This would be in the northern portion of the county. As we go up here just north of Martin, we had a crash there. Deputy responded, just used caution in the areas. Wasn't any injuries. We did have a lot Saturday morning, too. Boy, if you were up Saturday morning right when that misty rain was coming across the area, we had them piling up left and right across the city limits, one wreck after another. We did have a fire, and I don't know if you've seen this picture that we had from 16th Avenue, 21st Street. Meridian Fire Department was on the scene, and this is what it looked like. Look how eerie that looks as they pull up on the scene with the smoke boiling out. I do believe they were able to save the home, but boy, some major damage there as that fire broke out. And we have seen a fire somewhere almost every night that the cold weather begins. Now, we do get a lot of people, and there's no other way around this. There are a lot of homeless people in our area, and they do light fires to keep warm. We know that. The fire department has to go put these out. It can cause a bad situation. And this is what it was. If you haven't looked at this, this is basically it on North Frontage Road near the old Cloverleaf parking space as we pull up here. Meridian Fire Department was out, as you'll look at this, as a fire underneath that bridge. As the Meridian Police Department arrived to make sure everything was okay, the fire would be right up under this bridge as we get that car turned around right there. Going toward the mall and toward the police station there is where that fire was. And again, it was somebody more or less most likely trying to keep warm. It was cold. I think people understand it, but fires can get out of hand, and that is why the Meridian Fire Department will extinguish those. We did have a wreck at mile marker 152. This would be on South Frontage Road, right up from the John Deere dealership by the Royal Inn. Had somebody lose control on I-20. It swerved, hit the guardrail, and jumped onto South Frontage Road. I think everybody was okay, but scary situation over the weekend as we go back and look at this. I have not gotten an update on that. Charlotte wanted to know about a person that blew through a roadblock on Highway 16. I can check in on that, where it turns into the 4-lane. This would be up by the NAS area. Sheriff's deputies were in pursuit. Any update? I don't have an update on that. I'll talk to Ward about that. Spoke with him earlier this morning. had a bunch of things, too, that didn't happen that some thought they did. We had a great turnout. If you watched Saturday morning, you saw some of these pictures, and I'll show one or two, and we're going to show them again for those who didn't get to see them on Friday that weren't able to attend our Veterans Parade and also our ceremony that happened in downtown Meridian. It was a good turnout. We're so glad that everybody turned out for this. There was a big crowd here for this as we looked here to the crowd that turned up for the program. It was great. It lasted roughly an hour there to salute our veterans. Now, not as many, and it happens every year that we talk about this, not as many people show up for the parade. For whatever reason, I don't know, but it just doesn't happen. But a few of the pictures there as we pull up and take a quick look here at the parade that began at 3 o'clock on Friday downtown the Meridian area as we had the police escorting this, and we had bands, and, well, it's just a good time to get together to honor our veterans. But again, the crowd was not what it needed to be. We need to work on increasing that crowd over the years. I don't know the answer to it, but, boy, we sure need that. Let's see here. As we look at this, there was a wreck as we go to our friends down in Clark County to take a look. This is the scene here of a wreck that happened and 18-wheeler rollover. The 6900 block. Actually, that's not an 18-wheeler. That was one vehicle rollover there. Those happen. Y'all be careful out there. I don't think there was any serious injuries involved with that, but enough to scare you for sure. Anybody cold yet? Anybody warmed up their car? Make sure you get that coffee and everything going. You're going to need it today. Almost hot chocolate time and also chili time. I haven't had my first round of good chili yet this year. I think it's time for it. Dorothy Ford, how are you today? Good to see you there. Let's see here. Charlotte, Neshoba County. Not NAS, Neshoba County is what she's telling me. That's where that was. I'll check in with Eric and see what he's got to do. All right, I know where you're talking about now in 16. We'll check in with Eric and find out what went on with that today. Let you know what happened. Let's see, as we go to parts of the state of Mississippi, as we all know in the Lauderdale County area and most places across the state, it's extremely hard to, hire police officers. Well, over in Yazoo, they're going to add another police officer, but it's not what you think. I would think, you need one for patrol. They're hiring one, it says, to help with illegal dumping in dumpsters. People are throwing tires in there, and they're tired of it. So they're going to hire a deputy to patrol the dumpsters. Okay, maybe it's a good thing. Did y'all see this from the air show in Dallas, where the planes went down? How horrible it is. Now, they still have not told us if anyone, to my knowledge, had died on the ground, but at least 6 people were killed in the airplanes where they hit midair. How horrible it is, and each one of these were experienced pilots. We don't know what went wrong. It was not a good day for Mississippi football, was it? As we see that Georgia came in and whooped up on Mississippi State. Okay, and the Hotty Toddy didn't do so well either. Alabama came over and rolled over with them with some roll tide. I want to say Southern also lost. Am I wrong? I think I don't have the score in front of me on that one. We'll just have to see. Let's see. Aggravated charges here for man faces nearly a dozen aggravated assault charges as I try to get my tongue twisting out. Happened in Jasper County, which is not far from here. What'd he do? Well, he took a high-powered rifle out and fired a shot amongst a bunch of people. Hit a four-wheeler. Somehow or another, it didn't hit anybody. He's been taken into custody. Aaron Holder, 38 years old. I don't know what would make somebody want to do that. Seriously. Boy. As we look at crime, as we watch this, and I do focus a lot in this area of Kemper, Lauderdale, but as we go to Jackson, I wouldn't be able to keep up with it. I keep the highlights of the bigger crimes that happen there. Have you seen this? Raymond, Mississippi, just west of Jackson there, at a high school. A man was shot in his car after a high school football game. 21 years old, sitting in the car. They're investigating. We don't know what provoked it. I would go out on a limb and probably say it was targeted, but I don't know that. Most of our shootings here are. We did lose one life in the state of Mississippi as we look to Lee County. An 84-year-old man lost his life in an accident that happened there in Lee County. Happened right around Shannon. Past condolences to that family. They have not released the name of him yet. And I thought about this next story, how to even put it to words, because it's awful. Sickening, number one. Carroll County, Mississippi. And I guess it's just best to say it. I don't know how to word it to be politically correct of the man's charges, but he's been arrested for basically having sex with animals. A 59-year-old man in jail, orange jumpsuit. That's disgusting. We'll leave it at that and roll on to our next headline there. Raided his house. I don't know how anybody got a tip on that. I'll just back away from that. As we look around some of the big stories that are happening and shaping our America today, 3 people were killed and 2 injured after a student, 22, started shooting at the University of Virginia campus. 3 people killed. Now, some of the headlines that you're waking up to this morning. Mike Pence, the latest to turn on Trump. Are y'all keeping up with all of this? The number of people that now are turncoating. Those that maybe kept quiet for a few years that secretly didn't like him, they're all coming to the top now to attack. We'll see more of this, but Mike Pence, the latest that is doing this. Now, Mike Pence doesn't have a shot at being president. I think we all know that. He's a good fella. Sometimes it's just best to keep your thoughts to yourself, isn't it? Aaron Carter, the rapper, the young guy, y'all know who I'm talking about, the 34-year-old rapper, didn't leave a will. Got a bunch of family, and everybody's trying to figure out who's going to get it. It will most likely go to the state, and they will decide who gets his belongings. A missing California mother of 2 has been found dead in a remote location. That's awful. That was in California that she's been found. Ex-husband has been detained. Possibly something going on there as we look at that. Let's see here. A 23-year-old is a suspect driving a Porsche into a crowd. They were having a parade. Into the crowd he drove. A lot of people injured. And we also have a teacher that is going to get charges as we look at this next story here, why somebody would want to do this. This is Texas, Houston, Texas. Elementary school teacher has been charged with a felony after video showed her dragging a 5-year-old across the floor because she didn't put something in the trash can. Now, I couldn't be a teacher by any means, but Lord knows we can't have that, can we? That's Houston, Texas is where that went on. You're going to hear these and a whole lot more big stories today as we begin our day, our Monday into November, already the 14th. It's cold. We're going to check your forecast next. I'll give you a hint. It's 29. Burr, burr, and burr. Y'all stay with us.
Sanders Gas, Sanders Air and Heat is your full-service propane supplier since 1946. We take pride in ensuring reliable, friendly service to our customers. We also provide safety tune-ups related to propane, air conditioning, and heating systems, keeping our community efficient and safe. I'm Chuck Sanders, and yes, we're local.
Join Mike Rice Auctions and Wholesales every Tuesday night for a live auction, and you can bid from the comfort of your own home. Each week, Mike has a whole selection of auction items. Maybe you're a business that needs a liquidation sale. Or maybe you're in charge of an estate and don't know what to do with all you got. Talk to Mike Rice Auctions about an estate sale. Let Mike turn these items into cash for you. Your next deal is waiting for you at Mike Rice Auctions and Wholesale this Tuesday night, live on Facebook at 6:30. Anitra joins us from the house community and said she got to watch all the ball games this weekend. I got a little busy and got behind it and didn't catch them all. LaWanda said we all knew that Mike Pence was going to turn on Trump. I suspected it. Peggy Davis, how are you today? Good to see you up and at 'em. We do out to our east as we go over to Alabama. Let's go back here and take a look at this. This is a freeze warning here from York, Alabama, Demopolis, Tuscaloosa. It's cold over there, y'all. This is going to run through 9 a.m. as radar tells us this morning. Very cool as we look at all of this. Now, let's get into a bigger forecast and find out exactly what the National Weather Service has to tell us today.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
As we go to take a quick peek at everything, let's go back and see what our temperatures was today. Record highs and record lows. 1921, it was 84 on this date. Been a few years, hadn't it? Back in 63, it would be a cold day. 21 was our low. We're a little bit above that today at 29. As we glance, this is what we're expecting today. Sunshine, a little bit of showers out to our west at the Mississippi River, right there at the Louisiana line. But the Meridian area, Philadelphia and south through Laurel and McGee and Jackson, looks to be good. 59 in Meridian, 58 Louisville. As you go northward to Mississippi State as well, 58. Down to our south in Hattiesburg, we're looking for 61. Pretty good day there as well. Let's go east into Bama. We'll get up to 59 in Tuscaloosa, 58 in Birmingham. Over to the east there, Montgomery area, 60 degrees. We'll also see right at 59 sitting there in Livingston, Alabama today. Now, the outlook, as we showed this a moment ago, that freeze warning is still going on for Bama through 9 a.m. So if you're there, you're going to warm up your car. A few areas in Mississippi also that probably has frost this morning on those windshields. As we look at this, no change in the forecast is really expected as we see cold weather gripping the entire nation. Well, maybe except for South Florida here. Now, this is the outlook of what we've got. Now, this got updated just a moment ago for tomorrow for the National Weather Service. Tonight, we got 58 today, mostly sunny, but by tonight, as we hit the strike of midnight, rain will start moving in with about a 90% chance of showers tonight, decreasing to about an 80% chance tomorrow. Again, this got updated just a few moments ago as we look at this. Highs will be 55 and not as cold tonight, 44, 38 tomorrow night, but all of that changes as we get into Wednesday with highs of only 50. Look at the low, 30 on Wednesday night, 28 on Thursday, and we're back to freezing for the rest of the week, 30, 32 through the weekend. If you've got, and I'll remind you, if you've got pets, make sure that they're warm. Get some hay, some blankets, anything you can do. Maybe let them sleep in your utility room. Make sure everybody's warm, no matter who it is. And also, I remind you, if you've got elderly neighbors, check on them from time to time. Make sure that there's not a little heater too close to a curtain or anything. Just check on folks. It doesn't help. Be neighborly. Help when you can. Let's look at this outlook as we go forward through the 28th as we get past Thanksgiving. It looks as though we'll get back into the 60s around the 24th. And then we'll hover at that, 62 being the high for that. So cold weather pretty much is here. Highs in the 60s. We can still handle 60-degree weather. We turn to the tropics this morning. Absolutely nothing going on. Again, as I mentioned earlier, we've had 2 incidents, both of them this year in Florida, but not near the damage that could have been overall, as we kept being told that it could have been the worst there ever was. Thank goodness it wasn't. Forecasters do their very best. Sometimes it just doesn't work out the way they think. What's fishing going to do today? We turn to Chet's Paint Body. Let's see what's happening there. Well, looks like around lunchtime today, 12:30 to about 2:30. There's a minor time. You'll get another chance at dark. If you want to go fishing in the dark when it's cold, more power to you. 5 o'clock this afternoon through about 7 if you can handle it on the water. Wind's going to be northeast 5 to 10, becoming southeast in the morning here. So that's our forecast of what we're expecting today. Again, right now we're sitting at 29 degrees as you wake up. A few areas of Mississippi, I've seen some people putting 27 where they are. Donna Hawkins, how are you today? Good to see you. Hadn't spoke to you in a while. Connie John's up and Adam. Glad to see each and every one of y'all. We've got another show coming up at 8 a.m. this morning. I hope you'll come in, join us at 8. We'll be here at YouTube if you're watching there. Maybe you're on the Facebook side. And we'll also be live on Fox 30 to Meridian to go deeper in detail with everything that happens in our area. Hope you'll come back and join us. We love your input, and thank y'all for watching. We do appreciate that. A lot of great folks out there. Thank y'all so much. We'll see you in an hour as we begin this Monday morning cold here in East Mississippi and West Alabama. We'll see you soon from the Scotty Ray Report.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners: